often arise. Okay, let's move on. So the topic today is blended learning. I think you have an idea what blended learning is. Even if you do not have an idea, I think the name is self-explanatory. Anybody who knows the word blended also can guess what is blended learning. It's known by different other names as well. And the most popular other names are hybrid learning, a combination of more than one thing, and flexible learning, mixed mode learning, and many, many, many other names. So just to see what exactly it is a combination. It is a merger, a beautiful blend, a wise blend of at least two things, right? Perhaps you can see this picture on the left side, a regular classroom. And on the right side, within this circle, you can see this computer, mobile, and online, and so many other things, technology. So perhaps a wonderful, judicious combination of the two is what is going to be looked at. And then that's what we are going to consider and discuss today. And that's what we call blended learning. Blended learning also is known as bLearning. That's why I've chosen that nomenclature today, small b and capital E, because e-learning, digital learning, and bLearning are very popular today, and we'll go into the details. My presentation is going to be like this, very broadly. These are the components of my presentation. I'll briefly talk to you about what is this, and then why blended learning, what are the basic concepts of bLearning, and most importantly, my focus will be on the fourth one, how to blend, in case I decide to blend, how to blend and what to blend. And finally, maybe I'll spend 5 minutes on what are some important challenges that we may face in implementing the bLearning format and what are some possible solutions to that. This is the structure of my presentation. Let's begin by taking a very quick look at what's blended learning. This is what it is. There are some 3 or 4 words that I need to explain to you to make it clear to you what exactly I mean when I call it blended learning or people call it blended learning. I use the word deliberate and effective integration. So there are 2 conditions there. It's not just blending them. It's not just putting them together forcibly, but it is an effective integration. It must yield us some better results than what we are getting today because we are blending. And also it is a deliberate effort. It does not happen. It happens because of an effort on the part of academicians, policymakers, managements, teachers, students, and everybody involved. So it's a deliberate effort and it's an effective integration of basically 2 things. What are the 2 things? One is a face-to-face learning. That's what happens in the regular brick and mortar classroom. When you sit in the 4 walls of a classroom, what happens? Face-to-face. The teacher and the students. They sit or stand or whatever together and then they learn. The teacher teaches and the students learn. Everything happens within that classroom. That's face-to-face. And that's what I think all of us have been doing for ages. We know what that is. And the second one, maybe in the last 1 century or so, online learning has become very popular. Online learning is learning that happens while you use an online technology. Somebody teaches from somewhere, some technology is used, and we learn through that. That's online. But now the new concept is blending the 2. So there is physical classroom, there is online learning, and both of them are beautifully amalgamated, lovely, merged. So this merger makes it blended, hybrid, or whatever. And this hybrid, why is it done? To instigate, to motivate, and also to support learning. It's not just done like that because it's available. Many people tell me, sir, because of the COVID situation, is it necessary that we should go in for blended learning? No. So it's not the COVID situation that directs it, but it is some greater objectives of the teaching learning process. COVID learning has made online learning popular. COVID situation, the lockdown has given way to online learning. Online learning and blended learning are not the same. Please remember that. Okay, I request all of you to please mute yourselves. Right. Okay, so online learning is different, blended learning is different. Don't mistake them. For instance, what's happening now? I am talking to you from a distance. I'm sitting in front of a camera and speaking to you, and you're all listening to me. This is not blended learning. This is online learning. So blended learning is one form of learning. Learning and blended learning are not different. So it's one form of learning. But how does it happen? It happens with a combination of the two of them, face-to-face and online. Please understand this concept very carefully, because I think I speak to many teachers all over wherever I go. People mistake online learning for blended learning. No. Okay, this is a regular classroom on the left side and technology on the right side. Let's see what happens. So classroom, the physical classroom has some advantages, as you can see. What are the advantages? So physical classroom allows a lot of personalization. Teacher pays a lot of attention to the students, personal attention. Teacher can motivate the students. Feedback can be given both by the students to the teacher and the teacher to the students. Relevance, the content and the methodology can be made relevant, suiting the needs of the students and the teachers of the course and the content and the methodology or whatever. Discipline can be enforced. A regular path can be set, and everybody will take the same path, the same course, the same time, a structure, etc., etc. Soft skills can be built because students learn from students, students interact with others. It's not only the subjects that they are learning, but soft skills can be learned. And peer learning happens. All these are the advantages of the physical classroom. But on the other side, there is this online learning, which also offers us some advantages. There is a lot of mobility about that. The student can be anywhere, the teacher can be anywhere, and you can learn from anywhere. You need not strictly sit down in a fixed place. And it can be beautifully structured. Tracking is possible and is easy. So how much progress a student has made? How many courses has he taken? What scores has he achieved? How much progress has he made? It becomes all the more easier. We'll go into that a little later. Then economy. So one teacher can teach hundreds of students. Right now, I don't know how many hundreds of students are here. I think we are reaching all of them wherever you are. Then self-study is possible. The student can go at his own pace, etc. And global reach. These are some advantages on the right side. So classroom situation, the traditional face-to-face brick and mortar classroom situation had some advantages, and the online system, the technology, which allows us a lot of felicity with comfort with using that, also had several advantages. Now consider this. Suppose I can take some advantages from here and some advantages from here and put all of them together and offer it to my students. How wonderful that would be. The best of the two worlds. So the best from here and the best from here together become the best of the both worlds. That's what exactly happens in blended learning. So a little from here, a little from here together becomes the best, and naturally that's what blended learning is, and that's why it's becoming so very popular. Okay, so there is one kind of, not only the classroom and the online thing, there is a second factor to it. When we blend, there is a second factor. What is the second factor? Some learning happens synchronously. Synchronous means at the same time. Some learning happens asynchronously. Asynchronously means not at the same time. Asynchronous, synchronous, these are the two ways learning happens, two different ways in which learning happens. Synchronous again is of two kinds. The students and the teacher are in the same place and learning is happening at the same time, like in a regular classroom. You are all degree teachers, I think, and you go to a class and some 50 students are there in your class, the 50 teachers and the 50 students and the one teacher, the 51 of you are in the classroom and learning is happening, teaching is happening at the same time, right? 8 o'clock to 8:30 is your class, and then you teach them, the students learn them. That's the same time, same place. Physical classroom situation where same time, same class, learning is happening. That's synchronous learning. Within synchronous form, there is a second format. The second format, same time, but different places. Exactly what's happening now on Zoom. I'm sitting in my house, you are sitting in your house, but the time is the same. So I'm speaking to you at 5:30 and you're all listening to me at 5:30. Teaching is happening, listening is happening, time is same, but place is different. This also is called synchronous because we are talking about time, not the place here. Right? On the other hand, there is an asynchronous learning where the time is different and place is different. Can you think of an example? Suppose I create a short video lecture, a 2-minute, 5-minute to half an hour video lecture, and I send it to you, all of you. What happens? Will you all listen to it at the same time? And will you all watch it at the same place? So neither the place is the same, nor the time is the same. So different times, different places, you're all listening to me on that video. So I created a video and sent it to you, right? You are using it at your pace, at your place, right? And that is asynchronous. Now, blended learning is a combination of the two. So blended learning has some component that is synchronous. That means students come to the class or sit somewhere, but they're all learning together at the same time, part of the course material, and a part of it is happening asynchronously. Maybe a video lesson or some other kinds of learning that are possible. I'll come to some examples a little later. So we have seen two concepts. One, blending the classroom structure with the online format. That's one blending. And two, the synchronous format with the asynchronous format. So this blending also is possible. Okay, let's move on. So the combination of these two is blended. Perfect. We'll move on. The second concept that I wanted to discuss with you. Why should we do this? Are we not happy with what we are doing? Are we not content with the success that we've been achieving? I am teaching, my students are following, my students are getting good scores, good marks, etc., etc. And that's why should I change? Why should I think somebody is using this? I'll disable this. Give me a moment, please. Right. I think somebody is misusing this. Okay, I'll also erase this. 1 second, please. Right, let's move on. So please don't write anything on the screen and disturb others. That's a kind of a distraction to others. Right, of course, there are bound to be some mischievous students in any class, and maybe there is one in this class also. That's good, that's fine, okay. Right, move on. So why blended learning? What is this? What is this we have seen? And we are going to see why is this? Right. I think I've requested Subbu to, Subbu, will you help me or can I do it myself? I'll do it. I have a poll for you. What I'll do is I'll launch the poll. You have to give your answers here. I'm going to ask a very simple question. What is the question? You can see the question before you vote. What is the question? Teachers often complain, right? Any teacher at any level, graduate, postgraduate, school, wherever, teachers often have lots of complaints. In your case, what is the general complaint? I need more time to finish my syllabus. This is one complaint that I hear wherever I go. So the time is not enough. And some teachers say, oh, my students are very differently able, sir. Their skill levels are different. Their backgrounds are different. Their expectations are different. Their backgrounds are different. And that's my problem. And some other teachers tell me, my students are too very low in their abilities, in their skills. And that's why I can't do anything. Many you're an English teacher, many English teachers complain to me, sir, my students cannot speak even one good sentence in English, right? And often made complaint. And this is a very, very serious complaint many teachers make. My students do not come, sir. They don't come to class. How can I do it? How can I achieve anything? So these are the typical complaints. In your case, in your personal case, what are the complaints that you have? You can choose any number of complaints that you have. I'm launching the poll. Please choose your answers. I think the 4 answers are there on the screen for you now. You see the answers, I think. You choose any one of them or some of them. Good, good, good. I think polling has begun. Wonderful. You can choose multiple answers also. Fine. I'll stop the poll in the next 10 seconds. I think those who are watching it on YouTube perhaps cannot participate. I'm not very sure. But I think you can see the screen. Okay, I'm stopping the poll now. I think quite a few of you have already voted. I'm showing the results to you. So this is what you've told me. So what have you told me? So there are 29% of you who said that they need more time. 40% of you say that the student skill levels are very, very diverse. And 18% of you have said that students are too very low in their abilities and skills. And some 24% of you have said that students do not attend classes regularly. And that's why you have a problem in your class. I'm stopping this. I'm stopping sharing this. Right. Close this. Right. Coming back to this. So these are the answers that you've given me. Now, if these are the problems, there must be a solution because every problem has a solution, right? There must be some system that helps us overcome these problems. There must be something, some way which is likely to be more efficient, more effective, more rewarding than the one that I'm using. What is that? That's what blended learning is. And let me just take a closer look at it. So when students are different learning styles, somebody learns visually, somebody learns auditory, somebody is a kinesthetic learner, and unless he feels and touches something, he cannot learn. And there are all kinds of, I think there are about 12 different kinds of learners. So there are lots of learning styles, learning preferences. Somebody likes to sit at home and learn. Somebody likes to go to school and learn. Somebody likes to put pen to paper and write, and then that's how he wants to learn. So again, various preferences. Then there are various backgrounds from which they come, students come, right? All kinds of backgrounds and different kinds of learning opportunities are there for them. All these things are the problems. Now, because the learning problems are different, the learning solutions, teaching solutions also must be different, very obvious. If I have 10 problems, it's difficult to find one solution. But 10 solutions is not difficult to find. So solution-based, problem-based solutions that work against particular problems are what we are looking for. Blended, the name indicates that it's a combination of many things into one. So it's something like a broad spectrum antibiotic, right? It's not working against just one disease, and sometimes we do not even know what disease before it's diagnosed. Doctors typically, advise some broad spectrum antibiotics. It's like that. So it is something, this blended learning is something that helps us resolve many problems at one go. Let's see more about it. So what are at least 4 things that it can help us with? Blended learning can certainly help improve our outcomes. Students' pass rates, student engagement, how well they are engaged in the process of learning, achievement levels are Because, I mean, I'm not saying this, research has said this. Wherever blended learning has been implemented, I mean, research has told us that outcomes are bound to improve. Then, strategic use of the class time. How much sitting time students have in your class? If I have a 50-minute lecture, I cannot multiply that 50 minutes whatever I do. Of course, there are very, very intelligent techniques of multiplying that time even in a physical classroom. I think you know some of them. If there are any English teachers and those who know the communicative methods of teaching, where small groups are engaged, where you have pair work, group work, etc. So classroom time can be multiplied using those techniques. But because we are using both face-to-face format and online format, we are multiplying the time available to us, and it helps us both do deeper analysis in the physical classroom and give a broader perspective to what they are learning outside the classroom. Then, blended learning offers us a third advantage, various styles of learning. I just made a mention of that. So there are various kinds of various styles of learning, and it meets many of them or almost all of them, because education, I mean, learning can happen in many different ways here, unlike in the classroom. Then opportunity is multiplied. So students have their own pace, their own place, their own pace, right? And at whatever path they would like to take, it's possible, right? So these are some of the advantages, and this is not a comprehensive list of the advantages, but some advantages that blended learning offers us. Let's quickly move on to the basic concepts of blended learning. So I have one more poll for you. I'll show you the poll a little later. Let me explain the question to you. See, blended learning, as I told you already in the beginning of my session today, that is the new norm, right? Is the new technology, the new method that's available to all of us now. It's becoming popular all over. Maybe the COVID situation and the lockdown across the globe has perhaps made it a little faster. Perhaps it was waiting at the door already. It was knocking at the door. We were about to open the door. At that time, I mean, this lockdown happened, and naturally it entered. Even otherwise also, maybe within a week, within a month, within a year, it was bound to come. This was the order of the day. This was the newest and most effective technology, and research has given us findings that it's one of the best possible approaches to education, and that's why it would have come today or tomorrow. Now, about the future. Look at yourself as a teacher, or even if you are a student sitting here, perhaps it's okay. Think of blended learning as the future technology. Where do you think blended learning will be tomorrow? What do you think is its future? Do you think it will be like any other passing phase? It also will be one passing phase and it will be forgotten? Or will it stay beyond the lockdown? Lockdown will perhaps be over in another 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 1 year. We don't know. So maybe after that, it will go away. Or will gradually gain strength and become further stronger, and will be the only or the most popular mode of education in the days and years to come. I'm launching the poll again for you. You can make one choice, not both. This is over. I'm going to the second poll, right? I'm launching the poll. Yeah, you have 4 answers there. You can choose one of the answers, and you can tell me what you expect is going to happen. Thank you. Thank you. Good participation. Wow. More than half of you have already voted. Again, I'm sorry, perhaps those who are on the YouTube channel are not able to participate in that. Maybe perhaps you can see the screen, I think. Okay, I'm ending the poll in the next 5 seconds. Let me end it now. Okay, I've stopped it. Good, I'm very happy. So 53% plus 35%, that is almost 88% of you say that it is going to be the only way available to us very soon. Some of you feel that it's gradually happening. Some of you think that it is the most popular thing. And I think there are hardly a few of you who believe that it's just going to disappear soon. Maybe personally, I don't agree with them, but I think it's going to be the most popular mode of classroom communication, teaching, learning process that's going to happen very soon. Let me share the results with you, right? These are the results. I think you can see them now. 53% said it will gradually grow, and 35% of you said that that will be the most popular mode of classroom and online teaching and learning process. So I'm stopping here, showing the results. Right, I'm closing it now. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Let's move on. Okay, this is the picture. I mean, this is my visualization of it. So I think the past, it just began. Today, blended learning is really booming all across the world, the entire globe. Because, I mean, if we get figures from WHO or any other agency that's engaged in fighting corona, they all have told us that there is no country, there is no university, there is no school, no place not affected by either a lockdown or this pandemic, right? So the whole world is affected, entire globe, no exceptions. Somebody told me that 99.2% of the students across the world are affected. I don't know if those figures are reliable, but I think it may be true, right? I think because I don't see any country where schools are working now. I was speaking to Amita Ruth yesterday. She told me that even in America, schools and universities are closed. And we know that in other countries, the situation is the same, right? So that is one perspective, of course. So the present, it's booming because that's one wonderful technique that's available. But the future, the blending is going to be the best form of education that's going to happen. Okay, let's quickly take a look at what variables decide the right blend. Suppose, okay, I decide to blend. How do I blend? What do I blend? Suppose I say, okay, 1% of classroom education and 99% of online education is my combination. Is that okay? I don't know. Maybe that's okay to some. It depends. So there must be some factors that help us decide how and how much to combine. How much of this? How much of that? How much of synchronous? How much of asynchronous? How much of classroom? How much of online? If it's online, how much of this methodology? How much of this methodology? Right? How much same time? How much different times? So these are things that need to be decided on the basis of some factors. To help you find that out, I have already shared one handout with you. I think it's in the chat box. If you go to the chat box, you can find a Word file. In fact, it was sent to you in the morning also, but I realized that because it came to you in the form of a Telegram post, I did not receive any responses from anybody. There was also an assignment to that. That is one more factor I would like to discuss actually. So whenever an assignment is given, so even in a teacher's class like this, assignments are not usually responded to. So when I sent an assignment to maybe 200, 300, 500 people here, so how many responses I've got? Not even one. The same thing is likely to happen to you when you go to a class, right? So we don't expect instant responses from our students. So there must be a technique. So what have I done today? So I sent you the handout to help you understand what blended learning is. I told you I'm talking to you now on camera, and this is synchronous, and this is online learning. Right? This is not blended learning. To make it blended learning, what did I do? I sent you a handout in the morning, thinking that at least some of you would read that handout, the 5 points that I made a mention of there. And I thought you would come prepared. That kind of a class is called a flipped class. When students read the text before, come with questions, come with doubts, and a detailed discussion is made in the classroom with the teacher, and we are flipping the class. Flipped class is one kind of blended learning. Flipped learning is blended learning. It's one form of it, right? So coming back to this, what variables decide the right blend? So I think maybe you can take a second. I think all of you know how to use the chat box. There are two features for you. One is your reactions. One is your chat box. In the chat box, what you can do is you can just type your answer. What things, what factors decide how to blend, how much to blend? You can write your answer there. I can see them here. I mean, those who are on YouTube also can type your answer there. Somebody will read them out for me. Will you please do that? Can I get some answers? I think I've started getting some responses. Number of students, technology. Mr. Gopi Krishna said technology is a factor. Mr. Ahmed Ali says number of students, and Mr. Tejasvi, Miss Tejasvi says a pass percentage of the students. Nasreen says topic and facilities. And there are answers from Kartiga. She says feasibility of technology. Ahmed says access to technology. And Konduri, yes, says smart and innovative technology, technical. I think there are too many answers. I cannot read all of them. Anyway, I'm happy that you all have contributed. Thank you very much. Right? Thanks a lot. Okay, these are all factors. I'll give you a list of the factors that make. I think I'm very happy that you're participating in it. Now the class becomes two-sided. You can also, there is a tool to raise your hand. There is a tool to give a thumbs up. In case you like a point that I make, you can give me a thumbs up. I mean, give the point a thumbs up. Or if you like my presentation, you can give me a thumbs up anytime. So there are tools available for that also. You must know how to use this technology, right? So what variable decide that? Oh, already Suhasini has given me, I think she has raised her hand, I think. I'm sorry, I cannot stop now because somebody has to read the questions for me. Maybe that will happen later, maybe after I finish. So please, you can raise a hand, but maybe your questions will be taken at the end of the presentation. Right. So these are some factors that help us decide. What are the factors? One is, what are the objectives of your course? Depending on the objectives of the course, we begin combine. It's not just random, haphazard, right? Unmethodical. It's not unscientific. That merger, that blending must be a very highly methodical affair with a purpose, right? It's a deliberate and scientific way of merging the two things. So course objectives decide how much to blend, what time to blend, what kind to blend, etc. Then the course content, some of you have already said that. Content, what topic are you teaching? Maybe if you are teaching history, one kind of blending perhaps is better than the other. And if you are teaching physics, maybe a different kind of a blending perhaps is better for you. So depending on the content, within English, perhaps you're all English teachers, I don't know. If you are English teachers within English, how do you teach poetry? How do you teach an essay? How do you teach grammar? Maybe different components of what you teach need different treatments to it. Then most importantly, I think all of you said that already, learner profiles. What kind of students do you have in your class? What are their competencies? What are their needs? What are their learning styles? Where are they? What are their backgrounds? What are their attitudes? Depending on that, you need to blend. This is, I mean, a very, very tough looking job, but it's a very highly effective job. If you do some kind of a survey, and if you know why you are blending, and if you give a thought to it, and perhaps adopt an appropriate style, an appropriate mode and percentage of blending, perhaps it works better. Then teacher competencies. I think I would like to speak for 1 or 2 minutes on this. Usually, typically, I don't know about other countries, but at least in India, what happens is whenever a new book is introduced, whenever a new technology is adopted, whenever something new happens, teachers are not trained at all. So the textbook is thrust at them and they're asked to teach that text, new text. I mean, without training, what will teachers do? They will just again go back to the same method. Again, they take that chalk and dust and all that, and then they give a lecture and go away. So teacher training is an extremely important component which has been neglected. I don't know why. Very little emphasis on that. Right? In schools, at least, there is something called a B.Ed. But in colleges, it's not like that. Anybody who finishes university, one who finishes MA can become a lecturer immediately the next day. And what will they know about teaching technologies? What will they know about any methodologies? What will they know how to handle classroom situations? How to manage a class? They don't know. And that's why, I mean, the system fails. Now, at least in the case of blended learning, before we begin introducing it, I think we must have plenty of training, abundance of training opportunities for teachers. Important. Even this online learning also is failing for that only. I know, at least in places where I have seen, governments have said, okay, because you are on a vacation, because schools are closed, go and teach them online. What will they don't even know how to create a Zoom account. What will they do? Many teachers do not know still. Already 3-4 months we've been into this lockdown and still teachers do not know how to create a Zoom account, how to use some free opportunity platform that's available or whatever. And they don't know how to host a lesson, etc. So if that is the situation, blaming teachers again is wrong. Right, teacher competencies need to be built. And based on teacher competencies, we have to merge appropriately. So are my teachers capable of doing this? Based on that, I must ask them to go to online teaching or blended learning or whatever. Then what are the resources available? This is again something very serious because maybe students do not have access to technology. Students do not have access to internet. All students may not have smartphones and lots of other issues. So depending on all these factors, we have to decide what kind of blending works, how much of what should be blended. Right. I think this is again another important thing that you need to keep in mind when you think of blending. Blending should be based on some concept of elasticity. There are 3 things that need to be considered. One is the learning environment. The second is the media that's available and are being used. And the third is the methodology that you are using. Suppose you adopt this blended learning or you are using online learning. Again, you just go stand in front of a camera and give a lecture. What's the use? There's no difference between the classroom and online learning. What happens in the classroom, instead of happening in the classroom, is happening in front of a camera. That was a lecture. This is a lecture. At least that was better because the teacher had eye contact with the students and she knew what exactly was happening inside the class. Now even that's not available. Every student can switch off one's camera like many of you are doing now. So you can switch off your cameras. I don't even know where you are, what you're doing, whether you are sleeping or listening or whatever is happening. So it fails in case we continue doing it like this without knowing how to use that technology, how to effectively manage the situation, the classroom situation. It is bound to fail. So there must be a lot of elasticity. So how much of what? How much of classroom? Do my students or are my students prepared for this format of learning? Based on that, I decide. Am I prepared for this format? Based on that, I decide. Is this technology available to me? Is this technology available to my students? Etc. 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 So on all these factors, we decide on why to blend, etc. the basics. Then the most important part of the presentation today, it's about, what time is it? It's 6 o'clock. I think I have another maybe 20 minutes. Okay. How to blend. Right. So how to blend is an important thing that needs to be decided. So one suggestion that I give is every teacher, irrespective of what subject you are teaching at what level, irrespective of the level, irrespective of the subject, irrespective of your experience, whether you are a very young teacher or a senior teacher. Don't say, oh, I'm 30 years into teaching and how can I move to a new technology today? No. In case we do not adopt new technology, in case we don't upskill ourselves, in case we don't update ourselves, we are obsolete. We are gone. I retired from government service 8 years ago. I am 67 years old now. I am doing these online webinars. I'm just giving you an example, that's all. Right. So somebody asked me, sir, what happens to teachers who don't learn new technologies? Will they lose their jobs? My answer, I think I gave this answer in many webinars which I've attended. Technology does not replace teachers. It's because of new technology, teachers don't lose jobs. But a technology savvy person will substitute you tomorrow in case you don't update yourself. Right? You don't lose your job because there is technology available. But what will happen? There will be somebody who is more technology savvy, right? He or she comes and then you lose your job because of that person. If you update yourself, if you upskill yourself, you're absolutely safe. Even a private management, government management, whatever, aided, unaided, all kinds of colleges are there. I don't know how it's in the state where you are working, but whatever be the kind of structure that's there, I think people are from different states. So whatever be that structure, your jobs are safe if you constantly upskill yourself. Remember this. This is very important. I think the most important thrust focus point that I would like to make today. So if you upskill yourself constantly, your job is safe, your job satisfaction is full, right? You are relevant to what you are doing and everything positive. Okay, so every teacher, irrespective of the subject of the level, must know what is an LMS, a learning management system. There are many, many different learning management systems available, and you need to be competent, proficient in using at least one of them that suits your need. In the next slide, I'll introduce you to one or two of them. So what does a learning management system do? I mean, what you physically do, the LMS will do more efficiently. For instance, you have a lesson plan, you have a structure, you have an annual plan, and you have assessment. You record the marks of the students, you record the attendance of the students, you send them notices, and then you receive their replies, etc., etc., etc. So many things happen, no? In a real class, physical class. All that can be done online very easily and much more efficiently, much more effectively, much more productively, and much more faster within a matter of seconds. I'll just give you one simple example. Suppose your students write an examination. How long do you take to evaluate the papers and give them responses and all that? Sometimes it takes months, I remember. Even universities, they don't publish results because papers are not valued. Suppose you have a system that evaluates the papers instantly, and the moment you finish the exam, your score is there. How convenient that would be. Just yesterday, I mean, a few hours ago, maybe exactly about 20 hours ago, I conducted an online quiz for English lecturers. I've been running a WhatsApp group for the last 5 years with about 250 English lecturer members, and I conducted a quiz, right? And I think the quiz started at 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30, 7:40 onwards, responses started coming. The moment the first response came, already the score was known to her. And a few of them sent me personal messages. Sir, this is my score. I'm so happy. Sir, I missed one question. So it was so very thrilling. And if this is the kind of thrill that teachers experience, you can imagine what happens to students, right? So LMS has that advantage. So it helps you organize things, put all your teaching, learning areas, things into one place, and it helps you take an overview of the scores. I mean, why do you need to take a look at the scores? Many teachers tell me that they conduct examinations to know their students' performance, their students' level, how much have they learned. I think examinations do not serve that purpose alone. Examinations must serve much bigger purpose. It's not just to know how the student has fared. It is to know how you have fared, how I have fared. So when I conduct an examination, the examination results must tell me how I am teaching, how effectively I am teaching. Have I failed or passed? Not my students. If suppose I have 50 students in my class and 40 students have failed, who failed? Is it the students? No, most likely I failed. And most likely the syllabus has failed, the examination system has failed, something else has failed, not the students. So there is something to learn from every examination that you hold. So if a teacher tells me, oh, I have conducted an examination, I know the results now. 2 students have scored this much, 5 students have scored this much. That's useless information as far as your role as a teacher is concerned. That is perhaps for the student, that's good. The student knows it. But as a teacher, every evaluation, every examination, every assessment, every single small test that you hold inside your class or outside your class or wherever must give you continuous washback. Right? It must help you become a better teacher. It must help you build a better lesson plan. It must help you build a better course structure. If you contribute your findings to the boards of universities, perhaps they will reframe the syllabus. And we will have better methodologies adopted, better course materials available, etc., etc., etc. And for all this, LMSs help us, do things faster, more accurately, and better. So I'm introducing you to just 4 of them. Actually, there are 100 of them in the market. I'm just giving you 4 of them, which I have used and I found very, very useful. I think most of them have free versions and you can try them and you can begin using them. The most important, the most popular, and I have been using for almost 10 years is Edmodo. So go to Edmodo, go to Google and search for Edmodo and it takes you there, create an account for yourself and all that learning management can happen on this. Creating lessons to assessment, right? Moodle is another very, very, very powerful, extremely well built and useful, right? The free version is there and paid versions are there. Blackboard is another. Google Classroom is one. So all these are there. You use whichever is useful to you, or if your management has already bought a license for any one of them, I think you are lucky, and start using that and then make the most of it. Then every teacher must be comfortable using at least one of these online conference tools. Today, we are using Zoom. I think all of you know how to use that. Some of you, that's one of the reasons why I asked you to chat there. So there is a chat function. For instance, you are teaching on Zoom and your students must know how to ask a question, how to raise a hand, how to chat with you, how to seek a clarification, right? How to download a handout that you would like to give to your students. Now it's available to you. You can download it, keep it on your desktop and read it, and that's good, right? Use it. How to use, the tools that are available. Lots of tools are available. Annotation tools. If I want, I can also draw on the screen while I'm speaking to you. Somebody tried that at the beginning. I'm sharing my slides, right? Zoom and all these technologies allow you to share your screen. I am showing my screen to every one of you. Maybe one of you is in Ramachandrapuram, which is perhaps 1,000 kilometers away from where I am, but you are able to see my screen. Not only me on the video, but you are seeing my PowerPoint slideshow. So there are tools available on these conference tools, online conference tools. Teachers must be comfortable with one or few of them, preferably one that's popular in your college or that your college has already bought a license for, and maybe something that you are comfortable with. Okay, you need to create your own lessons on that. Then the third thing, I'll just show you this video. It's 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Please watch this. I'll tell you what it is.
Screencastify is a really simple way to record screencasts from right within your Chrome browser. Once you've installed our extension, click our icon and choose whether you want to record your browser tab, entire desktop, or just your webcam. Turn on your microphone if you want to narrate over your recording, and choose if you want to embed your webcam to add a personal touch. Once you're ready, click record and lights, camera, action. Spice up your screencast with our annotation tools. For example, shine a spotlight on your mouse to direct your viewer's eye, or draw on your recording with our pen tool. You can toggle your webcam on and off during a recording and change the location, size, and shape of your webcam. Once you're finished, click our icon again and click the stop button. Your video will automatically save to your Google Drive. Then, you can rename your recording and share it either by grabbing the Google Drive link or by publishing your video directly to YouTube. Our premium subscribers can crop and trim their videos, as well as export them as an MP4 or...
Okay, I'll stop there. Maybe the rest of it is perhaps is not really very important to you. What I'm telling you is that this is the free version of it that I have used. How easy it is for you to create your own video lessons and publish them. I think every teacher must try something like this today itself. If this webinar closes today at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, whenever, don't go to bed tonight without creating at least a 1-minute video lesson. You just take your own camera and then you just go into selfie mode, video mode, and then you just talk about something that you know. And then, I mean, it's going to be in your own personal drive. You're not going to show it to anybody, but just experiment. Screencastify. You can make a screenshot of this and I mean, you can try it. Another one.
Screencastify is a really simple way to record Castify.
Okay. The other one at the bottom, you can see screencast-o-matic.com. Similar, very similar. Both of them are good, and you can use both of them to either create your video lessons or use video lessons are already available. Lots of resources are there. Go to YouTube, go to TED, go to any place. I think you find hundreds and thousands of video lessons already available. The best of the teachers in the world are all helping us. They are posting their lessons online in the open domain, and you can, many of them you can use without any copyrights and copyright issues. And then I think some of them are copyrighted, be careful. And others you can use them, and you can have your own video added to that or your own voice added to that. And you can do lots of kind of gimmicks to make your lessons very impressive. So try any one of these. Okay. There are others also, Edpuzzle, TechSmith, etc., explaineverything.com. Play soft, but maybe keep some of these things effective. Choose short videos when you want to show videos to your student. I showed you a 2-minute video. I think 2 minutes was very long actually. So if you can choose 1-minute videos and shorter videos, they will hold the attention of the students easier, right? And choose good ones because there are plenty available. I wish I had time to show some of them to you, right? So when you are doing this online assessment, as far as possible, see, I mean, I don't want to go into assessment today because that's a different topic altogether. It needs a whole lot of time. See that your assessment has flexibility and a variety of assignments are given because you are using blending learning now. So what is possible in the physical classroom and what is possible online are different. So have a combination of them, right? And make your assessment as authentic as possible. Again, I wish I had time to demonstrate some assessment online technologies that are freely available to us, or maybe you can copy this and then try it later. I think I'm running short of time. 477310 is the key to enter myquiz.org. I've already created a quiz for today. There are just 5 questions, and I'm sure, but because that is synchronous, I don't know if you can, maybe because you will go home at about 8:30. What I'll do is I'll change the time to open at 9 o'clock, sharp 9 o'clock today. All of you can log in and take that. I mean, 1-minute test. It takes you 1 minute to do that. That's 1 or 2 minutes to do that. But all of you must certainly log in before 9 o'clock and wait for that. I'll keep it ready for you. And similarly, on the right side, there is Edpuzzle. There is no time limit for that. I've already opened it for you. And the password is PIFIGRU. So I have shown you how you can create your own video lessons using the audio add-ons, the video add-ons, the poll, etc., etc. I have used my own lesson. Some lesson that I recently made at a webinar, I used that. It's a 2-minute video, but I've just created a lesson to help you understand how it works. So please take a screenshot of this and try it today or tomorrow. The first left one, today itself. Then finally, coming to some challenges and some possible solutions. Just see one more video. It's again just 2 minutes. The challenges of...
In a traditional classroom, the approach is generally time-based, meaning the whole class moves at the same pace. All students get the same lesson on the same day and are tested on that material at the same time. And then they all move on to the next topic regardless of their individual exam performance or if they have gaps in their knowledge. Blended classrooms are flexible enough to allow the use of a mastery-based model, which acknowledges that not all students are going to get the material at the same time. Some students might need more time to understand a topic, while at other times those same students will speed ahead. By giving students as much time as they need on a topic and letting them decide when they're ready to be tested, blended classes can help to ensure that students move forward only when they've shown that they can apply what they've learned with confidence. Blended learning, though, like any teaching approach, brings with it some important challenges. Because this approach depends on technical resources, they have to be affordable, reliable, and easy to use for both the students and the teachers. Oftentimes, there's also a learning curve that has to be navigated, especially for those that have never used technology in the classroom. Another challenge is making sure that the materials are being reliably and independently consumed by the students, and they're coming to class prepared. This can be incentivized by closely tying in-class work assignments to the content that's being delivered online, and can often be tracked with learning platforms. Finally, one of the biggest challenges to blended learning is that it really changes the role of the teacher to that of a coach, and puts students in the driver's seat of their own learning, teaching them how to think as well as what to learn. This shift is an important one, and requires buy-in from both the teacher and the student to be successful. When it's done right, though, blended learning can lead to a much more enjoyable and effective learning experience for both parties.
Thank you. So that is a list of some of the challenges that you may face. Be prepared for them, and some solutions have already been given, but I'll just close by talking to you about a few other challenges like policy decisions, training for teachers, which I already talked to you about. Maybe sometimes you need to reschedule the course, not forcibly, but because you would like to use the concept of blended learning, how you'd like to reschedule it, and how you infuse technology into the whole process of teaching learning situations, and how comfortable you are using technology, what technology, how much. So these are things that you need to consider, and this is another challenge, availability of technology. And these are some of the things that you need to consider. They may pose some problems, but nothing comes without any problems. Any new technology is going to throw problems at us, and we have to accept those challenges, overcome those challenges, and find our own solutions for them. And because there are so many advantages, if there are a few problems, we need to take care of them and ensure that it works for us, right? And this is where perhaps I'll stop, and thank you very much for this great, wonderful opportunity that you've given me. I'm sure some of you have already created some video lessons, have given some online lessons, have tried blended learning. In case you have already done that, I request you to just go to the chat box and please mention there how many video lessons have you already created. If you have created video lessons, how many video lessons? I think 2 participants have raised hand. I'll come to them very soon. But my question is, how many video lessons have you already created? How many television, TV lessons at least TV lessons? TV lessons are again synchronous, right? They are not blended learning, but they can built into blended learning. They can be used as components of blended learning. Is there anyone who is responding? Maybe there are not many people here who have created your own video lessons, but I think you must start immediately. As I told you today itself, please don't sleep today without creating at least one short video lesson of whatever subject you teach. Okay, now questions. Over to Bhavani or somebody who is taking care of the...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So question and answer session starts for us. Any questions? The path how to be impressive teacher. Thank you, sir. I think no any questions, sir, but only I want to request one thing, you, sir. You said the blended learning is very nice for all of us, the teaching community. And other thing is the teachers who are teaching in either colleges or whatever the level it is, they don't have the comfortable instruments. They are not, they cannot be get effort to that. One thing, just I'm telling you, sir, I'm sharing that, sir. And the next thing is,
I understand. Let me answer the first question first. I have already answered that question. Blending depends upon considering what technology is available with me. I am not trying to think of something that's not available. For instance, is there a teacher who does not have a mobile phone, a smartphone? Every teacher has. So how long does it take to create? Just maybe shoot yourself for 5 minutes and then something that you want to teach and send it to all WhatsApp groups that you have created for your students. How long will it take? It won't take much time. So begin doing it. That's what I want.
and one more thing, sir, you could instead, you could insist the government to have some training, sir. For the college teachers.
Yeah.
You are a leader of the teaching community. You should lead us to have some training.
I've already taken the initiative, but governments play a very small role in that. Governments cannot give a laptop to everybody. They have given, of course, in triple ITs and other places have seen every student has got a laptop free, and then they are doing excellent work there. But instead of demanding something that's not available, let's begin with something that's already available. Let's show success. Yes, I have done this. Sir, with the limited technology that's available to me, my lab has only one computer, we don't have a lab in our college, but I've done this. So any management, any government will come forward to give us something more. This is, the general practice.
Sir, any questions regarding our
I think you can even unmute them if they want to ask oral questions. You can unmute them. I think Subbu or somebody can help. If anybody has risen hand.
Any questions, please, from the participants? Questions, please. Any questions?
Good evening, nagaRAJU sir.
Good evening.
This is Shweta Deshpande. Sir, I was your student in Bodhan, Madhumalancha Degree College.
Surprise.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah.
It's great seeing you again, sir. And I have a question. As we're teaching online nowadays, how can we ensure inclusive learning? Like, how can we ensure that everyone is participating in the class?
You can just go back to my class today. What have I done? I've done some 3 or 4 things. One, I gave you an assignment beforehand. I had 2 polls in which you participated. I asked you to chat with me. I asked to type your answers. So these were a few things that I did to ensure that you are participating in the class. Same
yes,
thing.
sir. Of course. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Any questions, please?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I am C.V. Srinath from Dr. V.S. Krishna Government Degree College, Visakhapatnam. I have prepared some audio and video lessons during the lockdown period, sir, to my students. The class consists of nearly 100 plus students. We have got some WhatsApp groups. So I have sent the audio lessons to the groups. But as someone has asked just now, it's very difficult to know whether all the students have listened to my class. So of course you have conducted an online.
You have to build some assessment into your lessons. So there must be a question at the end, a poll during it, or some kind of response that you get from your student. The same way that happens in the classroom, no? In a physical classroom also, if you don't ask a question, you don't know whether the students are listening to you or not.
At least we can know that they are listening to our class. That is confirmed. But here, how can we know that they have listened to my audio lesson or they have watched my video lesson? That is the problem.
That's why you have to use the technology to the most competent level. Maybe, for instance, you can ask your students to keep their videos off. So, you can make eye contact with them. Or you can frequently ask questions. The questions need not, in case you don't have time, you need not have, physical responses immediately, but you can ask them to type them to you and send them to you. Or you can create a WhatsApp group of your students and post that video in the WhatsApp group and ask them to you. You can make it a broadcast group so that each student will not disturb the other and they will directly respond to you. You know who has responded, who has not.
Yes, sir.
Try it. Try all possible ways.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Congrats.
It's a wonderful session.
Thank you very much.
I have enjoyed thoroughly.
Good.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Ahmed Ali from Adhikavi Nannaya University.
Mm-hmm.
And I have just one question, sir. I have used already Google Classroom for conduct of a few of my lessons, and it was very good. But the problem came when evaluation came. I asked them to submit it in the form of PDFs. I was foolish. They just simply typed one fellow typed, and the others just changed the names and sent me the same file. So I asked them to handwrite it. They did the same thing. So is there any portal or any website that allows me to have a stricter control over evaluation, sir? Classroom-wise, Google Classroom is good. It is good to disseminate my materials. It is good to transact what I'm teaching. But at the evaluation level, I want to keep the grades confidential, which unfortunately Google Classroom does not have. At least I did not know that it has a confidential thing as of now. So is there any other app or any other web tool that I can use?
I think your problem does not relate to the technology. Your problem relates to the quality of your assessment. If I give them a project, a question, which can be multiplied, which can be plagiarized, which can be copied, and the same answer is possible, automatically they are tempted to do that. So your assessment should be such that they cannot copy. Your question should be such. So if I ask you, for instance, instead of asking you how many students are participating in this program, if I ask you, why are you participating in this program? What have you learned today? How are you going to use this? If I change the quality of my questions, instead of asking factual questions, I ask open-ended, reflective, experiential kind of questions. Automatically, answers have to be different. Thank you. Thank you, Bhavani.
Sir, another question, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Another questions from our professor, sir, from Andhra University. It is a motivated talk. I would like to ask, how can we blend teaching aids into teaching a lesson?
Sorry,
how can we blend? How can we blend teaching aids into teaching a lesson?
I mean, very simple. I think the answer is very simple. For instance, if I go to a regular class, a physical class, I take a PowerPoint slideshow provided my college allows an LCD projector, and I'm using the PowerPoint slideshow to help me teach what I teach more effectively. So I'm using a tool in my class. Now I'm using an online platform. This online platform also allows me to use such technology. For instance, right now, I am using a PowerPoint slideshow. I could have just given a lecture without a slideshow. So I built a slideshow into my lesson. I have built a poll into my lesson. I have built a chat into my lesson. I have built a pre-assignment into my class. So this is how we use tools into a class. Integration of both.
Are there any questions? Any questions from anyone? Any questions? I think no any questions, sir. Yes, someone is asking, sir.
Yeah, my name is Nasreen. I'm from Syria. I'm studying here in India. I wanted to know, like, if we're going to have an online classroom in Zoom or whatever app, how would we transfer this into bLearning? So just for example, if I have a BBT or something, does it, like, is it considered to be bLearning in this case? No, I don't think so.
No, no. Thank you for being here. You are from Syria. I appreciate that there are students from so far away. I think you told me that you are in India now, but anyway, there are so many different kinds of students here. Regarding your question, see, just because I go online, I'm not blending anything. When does it become blending? When I use multiple modes. Only then. For instance, part of my class happens in the physical classroom and part of the learning happens in the virtual mode. Then it becomes blending. Part of the course is taught synchronously and part of the course happens asynchronously. Part of the course is a theory and part of the course is practical. Part of the course happens in the classroom and a part of it happens in the laboratory. Right? Or some students here in my class are listening to me and a section of my students, half of my students are going to the laboratory and learning there, they are rotating. So that kind of manipulation of the available resources, available time and available technologies very intelligently, wisely makes it blended learning. Just teaching in front of a camera is not blended learning.
Yeah, that's it. And I have another concern regarding bLearning. Like, if it's like online, if it's happening only online, not in a physical classroom, how can we bring the lovable feature of face-to-face interaction into the classroom?
It depends on the resourcefulness of the teacher. Anyway, even in an online class also.
It remains like very low.
Yeah, I think that's one disadvantage of that, but you have to exploit that in the best possible way to see that you make yourself a little more impressive with your tone, with your presentation skills, with your language, with your body language, and also the content that goes into it. Once the student realizes that there is something that's not only useful to me, but is presented well, his attention is caught. And suppose the teacher is ineffective, even good content is lost.
Well, that mentioned, I think that you make a wonderful teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sir, one more question, sir. One more question.
Yes, please.
Some Sheila Prabhu, she's asking, sir, in schools, every week they are conducting Nexus class. On that, they are showing a related video to the subject. Is that also blended learning?
That is not exactly blended, but maybe that is some basic rudimentary form of blending because two modes are used in the same place. The place is the same. Only some video lesson or some other lesson is brought from outside. It's like using a PowerPoint slideshow in the class. I mean, the basic form. I think you have to evolve from there. I think something good is happening, but that's not enough. Maybe tomorrow, for instance, take this situation, lockdown. So in lockdown situation, physical classrooms are not possible at all. How can you blend? So you have to blend other modes. Maybe part of it synchronous, part of it is synchronous. So I am giving you a lesson today. I am adding an assignment that needs to be done later and submitted. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much for having an interesting session. Please wait, sir. My Durga Ratna, my co-coordinator, she will pay you thanks and gratitude.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir. I'm very much thankful to you, sir. This is the fifth time I attended your webinar. Still, I am learning again and again. And you have mentioned one thing, sir. You are now at the age of 67 years. So each and every teacher is expected to get inspiration with observation, sir. Because at this particular age also, what we have found that we have a lot of enthusiasm. My question is, one thing, sir, offline and online. Do we make all the students active participants through online compared to with offline, sir?
Knowledge.
Both have advantages and disadvantages. Again, I just now answered the previous question. I told you it all depends upon the resourcefulness of the teacher. How effective, how resourceful, how competent, and most importantly, how passionate a teacher is. I think if you are passionate, everything will be taken care of. I know lots of teachers who just joined the profession and they don't know why they have joined this profession. They don't know why they are teaching. And teaching is just any other one more profession for them. For such teachers, nothing is challenging, nothing is rewarding, nothing is, interesting. But somebody who has become a teacher to become a teacher, like I told you, when you blend something, you must do it with a purpose. Similarly, if you want to teach something, you must teach it with a purpose. If I become a teacher, I must become a teacher with a purpose. So if that fire is there in your heart, if you are ignited, and if you have that zeal to equip yourself with the technologies, techniques, methodologies, skills that are essential to make you a competent teacher, I think success is 100% possible.
Thank you, sir. I am A. Srinivas Babu from Gayatri College, sir. So you have mentioned wonderful things. Many of the teachers entered this field by chance, not by choice.
Yes.
That is the thing, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Ratnam, please speak.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. I'm very happy to be a part of this conference and most privileged to offer my gratitude to Mr. M. nagaRAJU, sir, who provided an excellent presentation on blended learning, the future of English teaching. Through his valuable presentation, we all have come to know what is blended learning and especially why is blend, which sir has used. I really like the word, sir, why is blend, and its advantages. The key takeaway points are blended learning is used to get the improved outcomes, which we all look out for, improved outcomes. And the blended learning is important to get updated, how it is important for all of us to get updated and upskilled, okay, with the technology and manage it to get the desired results. And I hope all the participants will prepare their own video presentation in their subject of interest, and all the teachers will be passionate towards the profession. And we will definitely attempt the quiz at 9 p.m, sir.
Please do it.
Once again, on behalf of VSM College, I thank Mr. M. nagaRAJU, sir, for sparing his valuable time and sharing his knowledge with us today. Over to Bhavani madam for further instructions. Thank you so much.
This is my email address here on the screen. In case you, suppose you want to share your videos with me, suppose you have any questions about what I have told you today, or if you have anything you'd like to share with me about this presentation, please feel free to write to me. I'll certainly try to respond to you at the earliest possible convenience of mine. nagaRAJU@gmail.com. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for accepting. Thank you, sir.